Hey guys, we are back.
Oh, stay. Chris, you stay.
Sit.
Leo's really coming to own in this producer role.
Yeah, for sure. This is what we need.
Is this better? Are we centered? Awesome. Last episode, first of all, you have to close the loop on a story. Last episode, you started talking about, or a couple episodes, whatever, Batman.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Podcast. My name is Chris, and this is Keanu.
Yes, it is.
It's actually fall, and you can tell because of our deep earth tones.
It's true.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked about, so the last episode, I asked you a question if you knew about Batman.
Yep, and I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. I don't remember that. I remember us going, and I never finished the whole Batman thing.
Two people with ADHD, entrepreneurs on a podcast. I'm just glad we closed the loop on anything. But go ahead.
So in the 70s, Batman would always end with a cliffhanger. And then the next episode would pick up right where Batman left off. And it always used to say, in the last episode, the last we left our heroes. Now, I got to tell you, someone's going to see this and they're going to put in the comments the exact verbiage. And so, like, you missed it. But I really believe they said the last we left our heroes. Mm-hmm. So the last time we left our heroes, we were talking about prospect.
Well, actually, we were talking about MVP.
Okay, good.
Last episode.
Good thing I listened to it.
But the last place you left your heroes, we were talking about prospecting, then MVP. So,
what's our topic today?
Today, I want to talk about yesterday. Chris came out to a program that I'm honored to be on the board of. It's a great program here in Gaston County called Leadership Gaston.
Yeah.
It's 7 full days across 14 weeks, and every day we bring in a different leadership talk. And I always, on Business and Manufacturing Day, bring in Chris Elmore, the Chris Elmore. And you said something yesterday. Every time you talk, I get so much value, and I'm so grateful to be doing this podcast together for that reason. You said, because you spent a lot of time in college as a professor and otherwise, that entrepreneurship should not be in the business school. It should be in the arts school. Yeah. And I think we have some other things we want to talk about education versus schooling. But let's start there. Why did you say that? I want to unpack that a little bit further and maybe talk about the art of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's pretty simple in the business school. And I taught, so at the university that I taught in 3 different departments. I taught in the computer science department. I taught in the business school, which is where traditionally the entrepreneurship curriculum lives. And I taught in the arts department, which is what I really wanted to do. But I spent most of my time in the business school. And the thing about the business school is that if you look at all the curriculum in the business school, like accounting or finance, or what else in marketing? You know, what else is in the business school? I probably should.
I don't know. I've never been to one.
I probably should. I gave you like the 3 big ones, and the thing about each one of those disciplines is they are material disciplines. Accounting is a great example. Is that there's a debit and there's a credit and there's a finite, and it's almost like anything that can be materialized on a spreadsheet. It's taught in the business school. So here comes the entrepreneurship curriculum. It's a business discipline. It should be in the business school. So what naturally happens is the business school takes it and tries to put it on a spreadsheet. And what they do is they say, well, if you do this step and you do this step, and then if you do this step, you're going to be successful. And that is false. And the reason why it's false is because some kid from Boone, North Carolina, who knows nothing about business. My parents were teachers, and I didn't know anything about business at all. But I consider myself a successful entrepreneur. I mean, the record shows that it happened. And so the question is, well, why is that? And then the second thing, and I want you to talk about both of these, because the first thing is that even though you may take the steps that are prescribed, success is not granted. And then the second thing is that if I gave you my path, which actually did really well, it was successful. If I gave you my steps and my path and you reproduced it, you'd have a completely different result.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's an art.
When did it dawn on you, that thought process? Like early on, or just as you continue to exist in the business school? Like this just doesn't fit. Because even as you say it, what were the departments? Y'all help us out that went to school. What are the departments that are in business school? Accounting, finance.
I can't think of it. IT, what? Oh, business information technology. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
Well, you throw like just those three out there, and then you throw entrepreneurship
Hey,
in there.
Siri.
Hey, let's see what Sarai says.
What departments are traditionally in a university's business school?
I don't think she's that good.
Accounting, finance, general business, human resources, information systems, shout out Leah, and management and marketing. And the funny thing is I actually taught in the management school, which was interesting. But
I think that all of those do have a formula that you can follow
They
to
do.
understand, how to make it happen or to learn that. But entrepreneurship as an art, you had said it yesterday, and I might have heard you say it before, maybe just in a headspace that it resonated more, that it is an art. I wasn't someone who considered myself to be a creative person. And then I realized, well, I'm not maybe an artist, but I'm a creative as an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurship really helped to unlock that. So what does an entrepreneur do that is more like art? From your perspective, I have a couple of thoughts as well. What does an entrepreneur do that's more like an artist than like business?
well, so if you think about a free form artist, if you think about anyone that's the first place that my mind goes to is a musician, because I just love that. I just love the art. And so what musicians have to do is they have to create a product, let's call it a song, and then that product has to move somebody somehow in some way that makes them buy the song in its simplest form. And then that artist has to do something that if they sell enough songs, then they can go out on tour and people will show up because that artist has something that people want to consume. And typically it makes them feel something. It makes them feel something special. That's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I agree. I think even just the vision of being able to create, like you have it in your head, but how do you paint that picture so clear that other people can see it or experience it? And I just love, even in the smallest things and the most mundane. So if you ever see me just like kind of like staring off a little bit, there's a lot of things that could be happening.
Yeah.
But often it's
what
like
I'm
this
worried
was
about.
all someone's imagination at some point.
Yeah.
Everything that you have, everything that you own, everything that you experience, it was all someone's imagination at
Yep.
one point.
Yep.
And an entrepreneur made that happen. It was art. They created it. They saw it and they brought it to life. They made it into a 3D canvas. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs that are exploring that path or are starting to walk down that path would be better served to know that that's the case than business. Because as an artist, we have an artist sitting right out there right now, and I was watching her, with a couple of different prints and things that she was doing. She's probably going to throw a couple of them away. And there's no shame about that because that's just the process. And in entrepreneurship, there's going to be ideas, there's going to be processes, there's going to be strategies that, hey, smudge the canvas, throw it away. That's okay. Move on to the next one. Don't let that keep you from finding another canvas. And instead, entrepreneurs will treat it like the structured business that it is like, oh no, it didn't work. So I got to start,
right.
Like the formula didn't work.
Yep.
It didn't work, throw the whole thing out instead of just, no, that was just one canvas and move on. So that's what I was starting to think, is really, really plaguing me all night to get here and talk about it today, was just that it's a lot more like that. And I think that that's how that mindset serves an entrepreneur better, to understand that it is an art and it's okay if you just start on another canvas and keep going.
It's true. Not only is it okay, it's the way you create great art. It's the way that you create something that moves people. It's the only way. I don't know. Do you think that the notion of an entrepreneur is like, well, someone has a great idea and they just hell or high water capitalize on the idea no matter what?
I don't think so. I think that.
Do you think that people think that?
I think people think that.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun now that everyone's like, oh man, I remember when you had that idea and, I just knew you were going to make it happen. I'm like, did you?
Yeah.
Because I remember your energy when I said it. Like, no way,
Yeah.
not in Gaston County. Or even further, I had one person yeah, it's just going to be a lot of old white dudes, man. To be honest, that's what Gaston County is going to be. I know you want to create this fun, creative, energetic environment, but that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a bunch of accountants and finance dudes. And I'm like,
those are my people.
Culture, yeah, they're absolutely right. Culture is what you make of it. So just to have this idea and then not to see the art of it. Okay, now I'm feeling like I want to cook. All right, you could see the same picture, you could see the same vision, but put the paintbrush in your hand And like you said, I can't replicate what you did
True.
because I'm a different artist. My experiences, my perspective, the slightest brush changes everything. And I've had people now that have gone as far as contacting my GC who built Alchemy saying, oh, I want to do something like that.
Right. Exactly what he's doing.
I want to do that. Oh, look, it worked.
Yeah.
He did it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's so easy, right? He filled 10 offices in 3 weeks, was profitable in month 1. It must be so easy. It's just the model.
Yep.
They see entrepreneur, idea, profit. They don't see the art in between, to answer your question.
By the way, that's the reason why I tell people, because there's a solid thread when newly minted entrepreneurs have an idea. The first thing they do is they don't tell anyone else because they're afraid someone else is going to steal it. Mm-hmm. But the reality is they can't steal it because of everything that you talked about. All of what's behind it, you, this, now, conditions, all of that is impossible to replicate. And the thing is, if you keep your idea to yourself, you have no ability to connect your idea with other ideas.
That's right.
Which is what really when good stuff happens.
Yeah, I'm fine to close with that as far as the entrepreneurship as an art. We're going to start lobbying schools to make that happen.
Well,
they're definitely going to listen to us. But I have a thought, and then I'll let you finish.
Oh, good.
How about that?
Because I wanted to talk about what's wrong with schools nowadays.
I do too, but that's going to be another episode.
Really?
I think we talk about what's wrong with schools because that's our cliffhanger.
It'll be our cliffhanger.
Our Batman cliffhanger. Good. What's wrong with schools is, and it's Leah just like out. You made me lose my train of thought, Chris. Go ahead.
Whenever I lose my train of thought, I can always blame it on being 56. Let's talk about the problem with schools, specifically universities.
Okay.
Is that universities have sold young people. No, let me back off. By the way, my opinion, put a disclaimer down if you want. It's only based on experience. Universities have sold parents that their kids need to go to university in order to be successful. And that's false. Mm-hmm. And that's false. And my heart breaks for my students that were forced to be there. Because I know they were forced to be there. They didn't want to be there. They want to learn. What universities accidentally do very well is they teach theory. And so when you teach theory, theory has no natural practical application to it. So a student has to do one thing. A student has to take that theory and apply it to something in order for it to be useful. So I hope this one goes viral. So the only people that should go to school, to university, are people who are passionate about the topic.
Agreed.
And I don't care what it is. I have a degree in history and museum studies and a master's in theology and worship. So I'm really good at Trivial Pursuit. But the thing is that when a young person goes to school thinking that it's going to make them something, it won't do it. It's a waste of money. Mm-hmm. If a young person goes to school because they're passionate about English Lit, they'll be shocked on how much they learn. And by the way, if that's 18 years old or if that's 35 years old, it doesn't matter. So universities are really good at, universities only teach theory. In order for theory to be useful, it has to be, the student has to translate it into something. Community colleges, on the other hand, they teach actual things. Yeah. They teach you how to do certain things. And so if you look at which institutions are growing and which institutions are not, the community colleges are on the up and up. Because people are just going there, they're learning things, and they're taking that education, and they're going to make money off of it.
Agreed. I think I'll just caveat the one thing about that is I agree, but also I have the tendency of projecting my own experience that I went to school for one semester, and it's because I had a very fleeting dream of going to the NFL, all 6 foot of me. But, went for one semester and then I went to work and I gained a lot of experience like that. And that's what worked for me. And I think that some people need that maturing period. And if school is just that maturing period for you, 2 to 4 years for you to grow up, for me, it was the military. I was there and that helped me to grow up. I think that they need that maturing period because 18 is too young to be out here in these streets, but also, 22, you're still kind of starting to mature and figure it out. So I think that part as well, but I'd agree wholeheartedly that you shouldn't feel like I have to do this. This is the next best thing, because not everyone learns like that. But that's my whole qualm with education in general. And if I could, I would revolutionize education. Maybe after I build $1 billion company like you, 2.3 to be exact. I did say yesterday in his introduction that he founded $1 billion company, and he said
2.3.
it was wrong. It was 2.3. That's a big difference. It's a big difference. But we'll talk about education another time. I remembered my thought that I want to close with here for you artists that are entrepreneurs, not in business. Be open-handed with your vision. I'm so grateful for John Logan, shout out Luray Athletic Club, that he shared with me early on. Don't be afraid of sharing your vision, your dream, your plans, because one, even if they did have the work ethic that you do to make it happen, which most people don't,
Right.
it still wouldn't be theirs.
That's right.
It's meant for you. And I'm grateful because he shared that in 2020, and then late 2021 going into 2022 when I started visioneering Alchemy. If I didn't share that vision so open-handedly with as many people as I did, we would not be here today.
Yeah.
That was the currency. It was all I had to get us to where we are. So be open-handed with that vision, with what you're doing. Listen, first of all, there's nothing new under the sun. You're not that special. Also, no one's going to do it like you. If they were to do it at all, they couldn't, because that's your canvas, that's your paintbrush, those are your paints, and only you can bring that vision that is in your heart to life. People can make a generic version, but it's not going to be the same, and it's not yours, and what's meant for you will be yours. That's your art to create.
Boom.
See ya.